Time to welcome back to the studio, Metro Councilwoman Jenn Racca. How are you this morning?
I'm great. It's Friday. It's Mardi Gras.
It is.
Good times.
Okay. Are you a Spanish Town goer?
So I am a Spanish Town rider.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And South Downs. Don't forget South Downs.
So I'm a Mardi Gras snob.
Are you?
I like the big parades. I like the big crew. I like Endymion. Bacchus, my favorite is Toth. But being a Mardi Gras snob, I adore the South Downs parade.
Yeah.
It is exactly what a neighborhood parade is supposed to be. And they make the absolute most of a neighborhood parade. They're fantastic. I love South Downs.
They are amazing.
Yeah.
And we have a council float with some of my fellow council members, not all of them, but a couple participated and are coming out to 12 tonight.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, super excited.
All right. Now we go in it. Now y'all are like under the microscope of, are they throwing good? What are they throwing?
Oh yeah, all kinds of things. What are we throwing?
What are you throwing?
Who are we throwing to? Everybody. The answer is everybody.
There's and no better way to lose votes, right?
Right.
I didn't catch anything from Jenn Racca. I'm not voting for her again.
I'm gonna be in disguise.
That's why masking is so important.
It is.
Absolutely.
It really is.
All right. Metro Council approves $1 million settlement in lawsuit over arrests stemming from 2016 protests. $1.17 million to settle the lawsuit, and it looks like it took, right? The follow-up headline says protesters arrested after the death of Alton Sterling, finally moving on after the settlement. So all parties are good here.
No.
Oh?
No, not all parties.
Okay, walk me through it.
We have another.
Really?
Yep. Another one locked and loaded.
Okay. Then I guess my first question is, why would 14 be in one group and 10 in another? Why wouldn't this be handling all of it at the same time?
I can't speak to that exactly, because I'm not 100% sure, because we've been left out of the loop on a lot of this as council members, which I understand to some extent, but I think it's because some were on government and some were on airline. But I am just
okay. So different, potentially different protests, which makes sense though, because the arrests that were made right outside this building, that was a different. I don't want to say a different environment, but there was a different vibe to it. They had a purpose. They were going to go block the interstate.
Right.
The airline at Goodwood, where police headquarters is at, I mean, there were objects thrown. There were,
bricks, frozen water bottles.
Yeah, a whole lot of it. And just generally just blocking the road there was no cakewalk as well. We drive through there every day.
Right.
Literally every day we're going through that intersection and having the crowds just form around. How did we get to $1.17 million?
So that came from the parish attorney's office.
Okay.
And I can only speak to what I know and not what was discussed in executive session. So what I know is that number was much lower, much higher, based upon conversations that I've had with other council as in attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that number has fluctuated over the course of the past 2 years.
Because 1.17 million for 14 protesters.
I think it roughly comes out to 55,000 a protester, somewhere around that amount, and then there's a large amount of attorney's fees.
A large amount of attorney's fees.
That was negotiated down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So 10 more protesters coming out. Are we going to see? Well, you can't obviously predict the future, but is this going to be roughly the same process?
So I don't know.
Okay.
And let me tell you why I don't know. So this matter, and I've said multiple times in the media, we weren't made aware. I think anything this large, our parish attorney's office should say, hey, we're going into trial.
Mm-hmm.
We have this potential exposure. It's in excess of this amount. Mm-hmm. It could be zero. It could be this amount. Our settlement amount is XYZ. It varies. This is what we're doing. I'm just letting all of you know it's coming to you because you're voting on it.
Right.
Regardless of anything that happens, you are voting on it. Those conversations were never had. This is a high-profile trial. Could have ended up in the national news media. No one, not a single person from the parish attorney's office reached out and let us know it was coming. Not
Interesting.
a single one. Right.
So how much FaceTime did you have with this issue? Like how much?
Hardly any whatsoever. I was brought in late last week whenever the trial wasn't going as expected. And I was told, hey, we think we need to settle, and this is the amount, this is the number. And then we had executive session where it was discussed. Now, I was told that the parish attorney's office reached out to multiple council members, but aside from him and some of his staff speaking to me candidly at a back-to-back meeting for another issue, that telephone call was never made to me. However, I think I need to get this elephant out of the room because it is circulating. Some of my fellow council members, whenever I bring up things such as this, like with Stormwater Gate and some of the issues that I discovered, what has circulated and began at the parish attorney's office is Jenn Racca is just mad at the parish attorney. She's just trying to fire the parish attorney, which is wonderful because it has made my points invalid. It has made me the angry woman. And let me tell you here today in front of everybody turn up your radios. I am not trying to fire the parish attorney. I do not know a single attorney in this town that would take this job for $130,000. I do not know that. Does that mean that I think what is being done is effective? Absolutely not. But I am not trying to replace the parish attorney with any of my friends, anyone in his office, anybody outside of his office. This is not politically motivated in any way. What I am doing is using my mind to say, hey, we don't have transparent conversations. Mm-hmm. We are not even given all of the facts. And I believe we continue to be manipulated. I truly believe that. We have an attorney that went to try this case, and I respect this attorney. But not every attorney is a trial attorney. Not everyone. We go to different universities. We get taught differently. We have different skills. The attorney, and this comes from outside sources. I have friends that work in the federal courthouse. My husband works in the federal courthouse. They watch these trials. The attorney was late on the first day of trial. He was unprepared. Okay?
Okay.
He was admonished by the judge over and over again. This attorney had never had a civil jury trial before. Never. Why are we sending someone like that to try a case where we potentially have millions of dollars of exposure? We have really good attorneys in Paris. Who made that decision? Who made it?
Okay, let me pick up the questions.
Sorry.
Let me take the role of defending the parish attorney, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Alton Sterling killed in 2016. I don't know that we have a whole lot of examples of where they would get like game day practice for this sort of thing. So, and showing up late, not being prepared, obviously that's bad. But what level of preparation can there be? How much can you know going in?
This is from 2016. He had how many years to prepare? And so someone mentioned that he was only on this case for 2 years. Excuse me? Excuse me, sir? Seriously? And you know what? No, they don't have game day practice for all of these types of cases. But there are attorneys in that office that are in federal court regularly. Mm-hmm. In fact, we were told that they have several civil cases that they usually handle in federal court, that they have 1983 cases. They have police officers rear-ending, EMS trucks rear-ending. There are people that are prepared to have a civil trial, jury trial in federal court. There are people that can do it. And, okay, let's be the devil's advocate here.
Yes. Okay,
so we pay an outside firm hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal bills to handle inter-office issues with the police department, okay?
Okay.
They're excellent attorneys. They're great. Why wouldn't we pay those attorneys hundreds of thousands of dollars when we have a case that has millions of dollars of exposure? How does this make it make sense? Please make it make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, if we're not going to use them, why do we pay them?
If we're having attorneys these huge attorneys with great experience, super knowledgeable, wonderful attorneys, sort of cheeky but great attorneys, and they're handling these cases for us, doing an excellent job for inter-office issues, mm-hmm. and they're doing a great job, or they're doing a job. And we can't hire them to do a case like this where the taxpayers are on the hook for millions of dollars. It doesn't make sense to me. Like we're handling it like it really doesn't. I can't make it make sense.
So 1.17 was the was what it was settled on. Vote 7-4. I'm just guessing which column you were in.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah, and that didn't take a whole lot to sift through. When the next one comes around, like you said, 10 more are on the way. Or not 10 more cases, but 10 more protesters on the way. Are we going to see something different in approach this next time around? Because you can get out in front of it this time.
Let's talk about some facts of the case.
Okay.
Because those things cannot be disputed, and that is what a jury is for, to look at the facts that are presented and weigh the credibility of the testimony that is given throughout the trial, correct? Mm-hmm. So we were not present. However, again, multiple sources have talked to us. In fact, a juror has reached out to a fellow council member. Okay, that is an interesting story. However, so one of the facts that was given to me was that there were APCs, affidavits of probable cause, that weren't properly notarized. Okay, so we were led to believe that there were 14 of them.
Who's responsible for that?
So the Baton Rouge police officers. So you have a ton of people. They have an assembly line of filling out paperwork. Doesn't make it right. So you have somebody who notarized an affidavit of probable cause unlawfully, okay?
Okay.
So where's the investigation? Hey, FBI, y'all listening? Y'all out there? Y'all usually are. Where's the investigation? If there's some malfeasance, some issue, where is that investigation? If that is such a large issue, why are we only hearing about it at this trial?
When would that have happened? I feel like that would have happened 6 years ago.
Yes. So where is it? How do we just discover this? We have attorneys working on this case for 6 years. How do we only know about it now in front of a jury? Okay. And so so we were under the impression that there were 14 wrong APCs. Mm-hmm. Another council member has come back to me and told me there was one.
I mean, even at one, I mean, does it matter the difference between 14 and 1? Obviously, it gets more egregious, but does it change the game?
Devil's advocate and criminal defense attorney here. Hey, you have a summons issued, you have a DWI issued, you don't have that notary officio line signed by a BRPD officer, you better go to city court and march in and ask for that officer to testify. You need to ask the officer to testify, why was this not notarized? Or ask for the officer to testify, were you the person that notarized this? Was this properly notarized? Because apparently it either matters or it doesn't.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, in DWI court, I have rarely seen it matter. When I've talked to the Division of Administrative Law, it has rarely mattered. Licenses weren't being reinstated. DWIs were not being dismissed because that notary line was not filled out. And now either notaries matter or they don't. And now, apparently, in front of a jury, when $1.17 million are up in the air, it either matters or it doesn't. And this is one issue. Again, there may be some fault there. However, does it negate the fault of the other acts?
Metro Councilwoman Jenn Racca is our guest. Okay, but if it does matter, is there a way to get the horse back in the barn on it through testimony?
I would assume there would be. And if I were the attorney going in talking to a jury, I would have owned it in opening statements and said, you are going to see this. Yeah. We have corrected this problem, but it does not negate the other acts.
Right.
Or it does, and they deserved way more money. But either way, a jury should have decided that.
So with that in mind, where does that go from here with the next one?
We'll see.
Do we have a timeline on it?
I think it's a year out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we going to hear about it within the year, or were you going to be back in the seat in a year saying they waited till the last minute again?
It depends on what rumor the parish attorney's office starts about me next.
Oh, goodness gracious. She is Metro Councilwoman Jenn Racca. As an aside, complete aside, for anyone out there who says we shouldn't vote lawyers into office, just rewind and listen to this segment again. I wanted to talk about more than just this. I didn't realize, like, this.
I have all day.
Well, I mean, we got to.
Except for my Mardi Gras shirt and my parade.
I mean, you know. Well, no, we're going to have to get you back on because we were supposed to talk a little bit about privatizing wastewater as well.
Okay.
But we'll have to do that at a later time.
Sure.
Right now, though, so $1.17 million, that's a done deal.
It's
over
done.
with. We
checks are being written. Checks are being cut. I'm sorry, taxpayers. I tried.
That's she is Metro Councilwoman Jenn Racca. I appreciate the time this morning. I mean, there's not enough time to open up anything else. So
Absolutely. Thank
all
you.
right.
I
No,
hope y'all
thank
have
you.
a great, safe weekend.
You do the same.
Be good, be lawful.
Have a
Keep
wonderful
our things straight.
Have a wonderful Mardi Gras. She's riding in Southdowns tonight, riding in Spanish Town tomorrow. Hang tight for 1 second before we get to the news.
Thank you.
Riding in Southdowns tonight, riding in Spanish Town tomorrow. And yes, if she doesn't see you and throw you something, then definitely, do not hold that against her. We got to take a quick break. When we come back.